London, situated in southeastern England at the head of the River Thames estuary, is the largest urban area and capital of England and the United Kingdom. An important settlement for 2 millennia, London's history goes back to its founding by the Romans. Since its settlement, London has been part of many important movements and phenomena throughout history, such as the English Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, and the Gothic Revival. The city's core, the ancient city of London, still retains its limited medieval boundaries. But since at least the 19th century, the name London has also referred to the whole metropolis which has developed around it. London is one of the world's leading business, financial, and cultural centers, and its influence in politics, education, entertainment, media, fashion, and the arts all contribute to its status as a major global city. Its diverse population draws from a wide range of peoples, cultures, and religions, and over 300 languages are spoken within the city. The city is home to a plethora of nationalities that have over time molded and shaped the city's culture into what it is today. While London can claim to be a major influence in many areas, it is weak in religious practice. It is lower than any other parts of United Kingdom or Western Europe and is approximately 7 times lower than American averages. The city boasts 4 World Heritage Sites: the Palace of Westminster, Westminster Abbey and St. Margaret's Church, the Tower of London, the historic settlement of Greenwich, and the Royal Botanic Garden, Kew. The city is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world, and its popularity has increased over the years due to economic growth.
The term City of London or a city applies to a small area known as the square mile, 2.59 square kilometers. That was the original settlement, ancient Londinium, and is now part of the financial and business district of the metropolis. Greater London covers an area of 609 square miles, 1579 square kilometers, making it the 37th largest urban area in the world. London lies within the bowl of the London Basin, 15 miles, 80 kilometers upriver from its mouth at the north, where the English Channel joins the North Sea. The center of the basin is dominated by the modern valley of the Thames, which forms a level corridor running from west to east. London has a temperate marine climate, like much of the British Isles, with regular but generally light precipitation throughout the year, unlike the rest of the United Kingdom and even the nearby coast. The warmest month is July, with an average temperature range of 56.5 to 73.0 degrees Fahrenheit, 13.6 degrees Celsius to 22.8 degrees Celsius. The Thames, a navigable river flowing west to east across the London Basin, is tidal, rendering London vulnerable to flooding. A number of canals or canalized rivers have been constructed in the London area, mostly in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, originally for goods traffic. To the east and northeast of the city are the working-class districts of the East End. London's new financial and commercial hub is the Docklands area to the east of the city, on the north bank of the Thames, dominated by the Canary Wharf complex. West of the city lie the Inns of Court, the Legal District and Fleet Street, once the home of Britain's press. Other businesses located in the city of Westminster, the home of the UK's national government and the well-known Westminster Abbey. The West End contains most of the best-known theatres and shopping districts. West London is also known for fashionable and expensive residential areas such as Notting Hill, Knightsbridge and Chelsea.
During prehistoric times, London was most likely a rural area with a scattered settlement. Londinium was established as a civilian town by the Romans about 7 years after the Romans' invasion of Britain in 43 CE in around 60 CE. It was sacked by the Iceni, led by their queen Boudicca, but rebuilt as a planned Roman town. During the 2nd century, Londinium reached its height and replaced Colchester as the capital of Roman Britain, Britannia. Its population was around 60,000 inhabitants. It boasted major public buildings, including the largest basilica north of the Alps, a governor's palace, temples, bathhouses, amphitheaters, and a large fort for a city garrison. In 410 CE, the Roman occupation of Britain came to an end. From the 6th century, Anglo-Saxons began to inhabit the area. By the 600s, the Anglo-Saxons had created a new settlement called Londonwich, approximately 1,000 yards, 1 kilometer, upstream from the old Roman city, around what is now Covent Garden. London revived, and by the 8th century, trade was prospering again across the English Channel and the North Sea. A Viking raid in 851 destroyed that city. A Viking occupation 20 years later was short-lived. Alfred the Great, the new king of England, established peace and moved the settlement within the defensive walls of the old Roman city, then called Londonburg.
The Great Plague occurred in 1665 and 1666 and killed around 6,000 people, which was 1/5 of the population. The Great Fire of London broke out in the original city and quickly swept through London's wooden buildings, destroying about 60% of the city, including Old St. Paul's Cathedral, 87 parish churches, 44 livery company halls, and the Royal Exchange. Only 16 died. Rebuilding took over 10 years. During the 19th century, London was transformed into the world's largest city and capital of the British Empire. Its population expanded from 1 million in 1800 to 6.7 million a century later. As the capital of a massive empire, London became a magnet for immigrants from the colonies and poorer parts of Europe. A large Irish population settled there, with many of the newcomers refugees from the Great Famine, 1845 to 1849. London also became home to a sizable Jewish community, and small communities of Chinese and South Asians settled in the city. The largest explosion in London occurred during World War I, the Silver Town explosion, when a munitions factory containing 50 tons of TNT exploded, killing 73 and injuring 400. During World War II, London was bombed extensively by the Luftwaffe. Hundreds of thousands of children were evacuated to the countryside to avoid the bombing. Civilians took shelter from the air raids in underground stations. Between September 1940 and May 10, 1941, London was subjected to 71 separate raids, receiving over 18,000 tons of high explosive.
London is the home of the government of the United Kingdom, which is located around the Houses of Parliament in Westminster. Many government departments are located close to Parliament, particularly around Whitehall, including the Prime Minister's residence at 10 Downing Street. London is represented in the National Parliament by 74 members of Parliament (MPs) who correspond to local parliamentary constituencies. The city has its own governance and boundaries, giving it a status as the only completely autonomous local authority in London.
London is one of the largest centers for finance in the world and has the sixth largest city economy in the world after Tokyo, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Paris. London has one of the largest international insurance markets, the world's largest centers for trading overseas equities, the largest foreign exchange market, one of the biggest financial derivatives markets, the greatest concentration of international bond dealers, and major markets for transactions in commodities. London also has a vast range of legal, accountancy, management, property, computer, and advertising consultancy services.
Employed the equivalent of 350,000 full-time workers in London in 2003. Annual expenditure by tourists is around £50 billion, and overseas visitors accounted for 70% of this spending. London has about 480 hotels. The most popular attractions are the British Museum, 5 million visitors in 2001, the National Gallery, Westminster Abbey where the souvenir is crowned, Madame Tussauds Waxwork, the London Eye, a giant Ferris wheel near Westminster Bridge, and the Tower of London. Another 500,000 employees resident in Greater London works in manufacturing and construction, almost equally divided between both. Heavy industry has declined since World War II, and between 1982 and 1994, the numbers employed in manufacturing almost halved to approximately 328,000.
The centerpiece of the public transport network is the London Underground, commonly referred to as the Tube, which has 11 interconnecting lines. It is the oldest, longest, and most expensive metro system in the world, dating from 1863. The Docklands Light Railway is a second metro system which opened in 1987, serving East London and Greenwich on both sides of the Thames. High-speed Eurostar trains link Street, Pancras International with Lille, Paris in France, and Brussels in Belgium. London's bus network runs 24 hours with 8,000 buses, 700 bus routes, and over 6 million passenger journeys made every weekday. Travel in outer London is automobile dominated. London is a major international air transport hub. 8 airports use the words London Airport in their name, but most traffic passes through one of 5 major airports. London Heathrow Airport is the busiest airport in the world for international traffic and is the major hub of the nation's flag carrier, British Airways. The Port of London is now only the third largest in the United Kingdom, handling 50 million tons of cargo each year.
London is too diverse to be characterized by any particular architectural style. It is, however, mainly brick built, most commonly the yellow London stock brick or the warm orange-red variety, often decorated with carvings and white plaster moldings. Some areas of the city, particularly those just west of the center, are characterized with stucco or whitewashed buildings. Few structures predate the Great Fire of 1666, except for a few trace Roman remains, the Tower of London, and a few scattered Tudor survivors in the city. A majority of buildings in the London date from the Edwardian or Victorian periods. London's skyscrapers such as the notable Gherkin, Tower 42, and One Canada Square are usually found in the two financial districts, the City of London and Canary Wharf. The monument in the City of London provides view of the surrounding area while commemorating the Great Fire of London, which originated nearby. Marble Arch and Wellington Arch at the north and south end of Park Lane respectively have royal connections, as do the Alberts Memorial and Royal Alberts Hall in Kensington. Nelson's Column is a nationally recognized monument in Trafalgar Square, one of the focal points of the center.
Often called the Green City, London has a number of open spaces. The largest of these in central area are the royal parks of Hyde Park and its neighbor Kensington Gardens at the western edge of central London and Regent's Park on the northern edge. A number of large parks lie outside the city center, including the remaining royal parks of Greenwich Park to the southeast, Bushy Park and Richmond Park to the southwest, and Victoria Park, East London to the east. Primrose Hill to the north of Regent's Park is a popular spot to view the city skyline. Some more informal, semi-natural open spaces also exist, including the Hampstead Heath of North London.
The British Museum has collections ranging from Egyptian and classical antiquities through Saxon treasures to more recent artifacts. The Victoria and Albert Museum have examples of porcelain, glass, sculpture, fabrics and costume, furniture, and musical instruments, all set in a building of Victorian grandeur. Nearby are the Museum of Natural History and the Science Museum. The Museum of London has exhibits dealing with the development of the capital from its origins to the present day. Art galleries include the National Gallery, the National Portrait Gallery, which has more than 9,000 portraits, the Tate Britain, which houses the largest collection of British paintings from the 16th century to the present day. The Queen's Gallery in Buckingham Palace exhibits pictures from the royal collection. The British Library, the National Library of Britain, has a collection of more than 150 million separate items. Publishers are required to deposit in the library a copy of everything they publish.
has about 100 theatres, including the 3 auditoriums of the Royal National Theatre, the 2 auditoriums at the city's Barbican Centre, and the Royal Court Theatre. The largest concentration of commercial theatre is in the West London. In 1989, the remains of the Globe Theatre, where Shakespeare acted, and the Rose Theatre, where his plays were performed during his lifetime, were excavated in central London. A reconstruction of the Globe Theatre near its original site was unveiled in 1996.